Hello, and welcome back to the Ambassadors of Gaming. I'm one in your collection of hosts, Ambassador Michael, and today I'm going to narrate for Darrell a little bit on his thoughts on The Last of Us 2, the latest first-party exclusive from Sony, and Naughty Dog's latest game. So let's just get right to what he has to say. Back in June 2013, a certain title launched on PlayStation 3 and remastered for PS4 just over a year later by Naughty Dog called The Last of Us. When Mike and I went through games of the decade, this was featured. It is groundbreaking and staggering what could be pushed on PS3 hardware. In December of 2016, we got a trailer announcing that Part 2 was coming, and on June 19th this year, after a few delays, the game eventually launched. But is it any good? What do we get? Well, let's start with the story. To describe the story, I wanted something as spoiler-free as possible, so this is a plot given by Amazon UK, and I assume it's a universal plot used by Amazon. As Ellie pursues vengeance after a traumatic violent event, you must confront the devastating physical and emotional repercussions of her actions. 5 years after the dangerous journey across the post-pandemic United States, Ellie and Joel have settled down in Jackson, Wyoming. Living amongst a thriving community of survivors has allowed them peace and stability, despite the constant threat of the infected and other more desperate survivors. When a violent event disrupts that peace, Ellie embarks on a relentless journey to carry out justice and find closure. As she hunts those responsible one by one, she is confronted with the devastating physical and emotional repercussions of her actions. It is evident that we have a powerful, emotional, dark, and descriptive tale. It's a story you need to experience for yourself. It's impossible to divulge more into the plot without spoiling anything, so on that note, in regards to content, I won't say any more, and to be honest, you need to experience it firsthand. Regarding whether or not I enjoyed this story, well, it's no secret the story prior to and during launch has been hated by some. I personally didn't hate the story. It made sense, especially towards the end as you discovered more and events unfolded, but it's still an amazing narrative. I found it personally amazing. It's also always going to be a different story than the first game because of the events that we now know about. Visually, this game is utterly amazing and at times close to real. Naughty Dog visually produced a masterpiece, and it's scary to think on a PlayStation 5 that this could become even more breathtaking. The attention to detail is incredible, and it's best to see how so for yourself. The reflections and lighting especially are pushing technology hard, and this is incredible when you factor in the fact that it's without ray tracing support from any potential PS5 upgrade. Audio-wise, again, we are blessed. From an amazing soundtrack to excellent sounding game, sometimes when Ellie stabs people in the neck, for example, it's very disturbing. Also, walking through broken glass, running, and catching a metal hanging chain can alert others to your presence. Gameplay is very similar to the previous in regards to workbenches, upgrade weapons, and gathering resources to craft mines, molotovs, or health packs. It also has a similar UI, which feels nice, fresh, and clean. Not much needed changed from the original game. Combat is also similar to the first game. It runs really well, and no noticeable frame drops even when action gets busy. Level design is done to an incredibly high standard. You have a mission to do, which is never displayed on screen, but following story is your clue, and it's a linear path but not feeling restricted, and one section is given a slightly open feel. Overall, everything works and it is a joy to play, pretty much like the first game. AI in this has got a revamp and will move to an area they think they saw you, communicate with others if they think there's a threat, and flank you. Dogs can trace your scent as well. In certain occasions, you can set enemy factions to fight the infected, giving you some breathing room. I do recommend this. It's a resounding yes without any hesitation. It is an incredible game. I had no issues really on my first playthrough. Every so often, a game comes along and stands over others as a pinnacle of what we can achieve, and this is one such game. As we come to the start of new generation consoles, this game shines and can easily stand on its own as a PS5 title. As stated earlier in regards to the story, I am aware prior to launch that certain aspects leaked, and a minority of people didn't like the game or the contents of the leaks. I don't know what leaked, but I know the path and story of the game. And yes, it's going to upset some, but I still won't hesitate in recommending as a must-own. But again, these are only my thoughts. Well, there you have it, friends. Quite a lengthy post from Darrell this time on what he has to say regarding The Last of Us. So, we hope that this gives you some insight into kind of how he felt about the game spoiler-free. If you wish to view a more spoiler-filled discussion and you want to kind of get into the more nitty-gritty or you don't necessarily care about spoilers or you don't feel like your interest in the game is that high and you really want to just see for yourself what the spoilers kind of are, in context, not just the leaks. We have a full spoiler cast that will go up the day after this video comes out, and so you can view that there as well. So we'll leave you with some screenshots from The Last of Us, and let us know what you've thought if you played it. If maybe this has changed your mind if you didn't like it. And we'd like to hear, if you didn't like it, why. Because we've been hearing people not liking it, but not hearing exactly why, or not in a way that has been representative of an actual criticism. So, of course, if you don't like it and you have an actual criticism, we'd love to hear it. Until then, I'm Ambassador Michael. These are Darrell's thoughts on The Last of Us 2. And I'll leave you with the screenshot bonus round. Goodbye, friends.